every time the snow is falling down and it is cold outside, we gather around the fireplace and no one cares about yesterday. My favorite holiday, it means so much more than words can say. And I claim that Christmas is a magic day. Sometimes I tend to forget what glory this holiday represents, but it's fair to say that Christmas is a magic day. This year I'll think about how I'm so lucky to have a place that I can come home to. Yes, I am on my way. We'll put our differences aside and just enjoy this moment of peace and love and happiness. We come together to celebrate. Yes, every time the snow is falling down and it is cold outside, we gather around the fireplace and no one cares about yesterday. My favorite holiday, it means so much more than words can say. And I claim that Christmas is a magic day. Sometimes I tend to forget what glory this holiday represents, but it's fair to say that Christmas is a magic day. Yes, every time the snow is falling down and it is cold outside, we gather around the fireplace and no one cares about yesterday. My favorite holiday, it means so much more than words can say. And I claim that Christmas is a magic day. Sometimes I tend to forget what glory this holiday represents, but it's fair to say that Christmas is a magic day.
Yo, what's up, everyone? Happy Saturday. How you doing, Patrick? How you doing,
All right,
Patrick?
what about you, man?
Living the
all right.
dream. Living the dream as always. This is a good day. It's a good day. It's a happy day.
Yeah, it's a happy
We're
day.
we're festive. It's December. 2021 is almost done.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So
Getting
fast.
close to
So
2022.
fast. Oh, boy.
Oh.
2022.
Chewy asked if we're going to sing carols. No, we're not. We are not. We are not. Welcome, SML crew. Happy to have you all here. Chris, yo. Love the yo. All right, Patrick, is your mic like in its normal spot?
Yeah.
Crystal says your
Am I low?
volume's a little low.
A little
Bump it up. Bump it up.
What about now? What about now?
Oh, that's better. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us this Saturday. Happy to have everyone. We got past Thanksgiving in the U.S. I'm turkeyed out. Yes. If you are new
Turkey and dressing.
Yeah, turkey and dressing, yes. If you're new to GuineCube or new to live streams, go ahead and put hashtag new in the chat. We always love seeing the new faces. I've been seeing a few new names that I don't recognize, so it's just welcome everyone from across the world. It's great to see everyone. And also shout out to the members of GuineCube. You help us do what we do, and we greatly appreciate it. If you see folks in the chat with the green names or the GuineCube icon next to their name, those are members of GuineCube. So you can find out more at the link on the screen or hit the join button down below if you're on YouTube. No commitment required, just a big thank you, and just happy to have you here. And yeah. And then members also, please hold your questions until the second half. Chatmaster C will give you the go-ahead to add your questions. So the second half of the stream, we do members-only chat. So members and moderators can go ahead and participate in that. Everyone else, you can still watch the stream, but the chat will be for members and moderators only. Super chats take priority throughout the entire stream. So if you do have a burning question, you want to get to it, that's how you can jump the queue. Speaking of the queue, get your questions in, Q colon in front of it. Chatmaster C standing by to get it into the queue. You only need to do it once, and then it will get in there. We don't get to all the questions, sorry. We get to as many as we can, and then if we don't get to it, come back next week, and we will try to get to your question then. All right. Am I missing anything, Patrick?
No.
I think I got everything. So the news. Not the news, but the news. So Riandra's new. What else we got? Niles is new from India. See a lot of folks pretending to be new, but they're not. I love it.
Tally Higgins. There's Tally Higgins.
Tally Higgins is new. Barna's new. What else we got? There's a bunch of news here. Chaitan's new. Yeah, Tali, Baron. What else we got? It looks like those are all of them. Well, thank you so much, everyone. It's great to have you here. And then Chris Wagner, thank you for the super chat, buddy. So he said, Merry Christmas, Adam, Patrick, and everyone in the GuineCube live stream. Hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and Happy Holidays, all of that stuff. Thank you, Chris. I hope the same to you as well. Diego, I don't know if you're new. Are you new? You tell me. I can't answer that for you.
Question mark.
I can't answer that for you. So if you want to do it, so Paul, thanks for responding to that for Tali. If you do a super chat and you want to do it specifically with a question, be sure to type the question into it before you hit send and pay. Otherwise, it's just a regular super chat, which we greatly appreciate. But if your intent is a question, make sure you type in the question.
So the super chats jump all the questions, though, right?
Yeah, that jumps the queue.
Okay. Yeah.
It does. All right. We are ready. Get your questions in, everyone. The queue is light right now, so now's the time to get it in if you want it. And then make sure you get that Q colon in front of the question to get it queued. Follow the directions. It's pinned up on top. All right, Matthias, starting us off this morning. Love it. Matthias, I have to say also, I've missed having your question as the first question. So, all right. What is the best way to use parameters in DAX measures? For example, a certain period which shall be applied in each measure. What do you think, Patrick?
So, DAX is a functional language. You guys have to remember that. It's a functional language. So, the only way to really do that is to use like a parameter table, and that way I can change it dynamically with a slicer or something like that. And so there's I'll put this in the chat, or you can, hey, go to my machine. Let me show you this, because this is pretty cool. Alberto and Marco, there's a DAX patterns parameter table, all about it, changing the scale of a measure. It's great content, but all the way at the bottom, You can watch the video, and then there is a article that talks about parameters and DAX measures. And at the beginning, he says exactly what I said. It's a functional language, and so you you gotta remember, right? And so there's no way to do this without passing it through the filter and the calculate, like they say. But this is a really good example of how you do it using this parameter table.
So Patrick, I didn't see the link go in the chat. So.
I'm doing it right now.
Okay,
I'm doing it right now.
Because you made it sound like you already did that, and I didn't see it. So,
nope.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Excellent. Also, I did see something. Where was it? Yeah, Christian, just real quick, this is a logistical thing. So he asked if this was the last live stream for 2021. It is not. We have 2 more. So check out the community tab on the Power BI or on the Guy in a Cube YouTube channel. Not right now. Do it after the live stream. But check out the community tab. I put the schedule in there for the rest of the year, so you can find out about that. Cool. And then Alex, thank you for the super chat. Just saying that great channel. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it. And then Mark also bringing in a super chat. Thank you, Mark. Love it. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
Yeah,
all right.
They are awesome.
All right, Evan, is it okay, maybe, to write measures on your dimension table? If I want the latest name of a particular column, I have to cross-filter my fact table max date to my dim table to get the name. What's the best practice there?
Oh, man.
So I'll say one thing. Having a measure tied to a home table is not, it's more of an organizational thing. It's not a functional thing. So if you wanted to put it on your dimension table, you can. I know most folks try to keep their measures kind of together, usually on the fact table, and then hiding the actual columns from the fact table. So the only thing that's available on the fact table are the measures, and then you can group those in folders and stuff like that. That's the normal approach that I've seen. What do you think, Patrick?
I agree.
Yeah, I like Kevin's answer. I like Kevin.
It depends.
It depends.
I didn't say it. It depends. It depends on what you're trying to do. I try to. It's great having that measure table, but something that I've been doing is I actually use that description field a lot in my models, and I use folders a lot because sometimes you need to align the measures with the tables that they belong to, because it just makes it's easier. It's easier when someone starts consuming that model to go and build things that way, because now you have these logical buckets or logical tables of things or logical folders of things. So just my opinion here.
So Fernando, this is absolutely a Power BI question, not a data warehouse question. It's a Power BI question because we're talking specifically about measures and where to place those measures. So that's going to be done inside of Power BI. So your data warehouse is where hopefully you're laying out your fact table. But the measures you're going to create inside of the model itself. So it could be analysis services also, but hopefully it's Power BI. Hopefully it's Power BI.
I mean, if you're building a data warehouse, you don't want to put measures on your dimensions.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
No.
Excellent. Also, there was something else I saw that I wanted to highlight, but I missed it. Sorry. All right, Cheetan, bringing in a super chat. All right. With a question, can we calculate month-over-month variance without using data hierarchy? Because I can't order months in my matrix by my fiscal year, October to September. If I take month from the hierarchy, ... What do you think?
And you can calculate. You can calculate month over month. You can do it. If you're not using date, a calendar table, it's going to be a little more difficult. And sometimes, depending on how deep you want to go into the month, beyond what month, if you're going to day or something like that, you may need to write your own variation of it.
Yeah, well, and also I would say from a DAX perspective, it's not necessarily mandated by the sort on the matrix, because in your DAX, you can actually get it. It's off of your calendar table, hopefully. And hopefully in your calendar table, it's ordered, even though that's not represented in your matrix. But from that, you can go from a DAX perspective and say, get previous month and go figure that out. and then do your month over month variance. So there's ways to do it from a DAX perspective.
That yellow light above my head, it makes
like
it
a
seem
light
like
bulb.
I have a bright idea. It's like I have a bright idea.
Yes. It makes me sad because you don't.
I don't.
Sometimes you do.
What?
Sometimes you do. Yeah, so Cheetan, yeah, you should be able to. You can do month over month variance regardless of the sort order in the matrix. I will say that the sort order in the matrix can make it sometimes hard to discern, depending on how it's sorted. So that's something to consider. But from DAX, it should be. You can absolutely do it. And then I saw Joe was saying custom sort. So yeah, you can do sort by in the calendar table to make sure that it's sorted by a number and not a string, to make sure you get the right orders and things like that. So, yes. All right. Excellent, excellent. Going back to the, Paul said you always have a bright idea.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm blushing. You just can't see it. I'm blushing. You just can't see it.
Also, Paul, just FYI, you're not on your Paul Turley channel, so when we cut over to members only, just be aware of that. If you're like, why is my chat not working?
He said sort by not working. Don't know what that. You have to elaborate.
So, I mean, so the sort by not working, Alberto did a good video about how when you're doing certain things from a filter perspective, you have to take the sort by column into consideration as well. So that may be what you're hitting, is that it's not actually doing what you want because of the fact that you're not accounting for the sort by when you're doing like filtering or things of that nature. So be aware of that.
Boom, Marco just put a pattern. I was looking for it and he found it. There's a pattern.
Yes. Sweet. Thank you, Marco.
I couldn't find it. Yep. Check that out, Cheatin. Check that out. The pattern that Marco put in the chat should answer your question.
And Paul's back on his member channel.
I'm back.
Welcome,
I'm
Paul.
back.
We missed you. All right. Cool. All right, Fabry. Going to Fabry. Is there a way to see how much CPU a tabular model consumes while it processes our server is hitting 100% CPU, and we want to identify which tabular models are consuming the most CPU? So I'm going to make an assumption here. We're talking about on-premises analysis services, because you're looking at CPU. I mean, this could be from a premium perspective as well. But premium
capacity.
Premium, I would say, is easier because the metrics app will at least tell you where the CPU is bound to what model. So that's really easy.
That's what I was going to say.
For on-premises, though, if you had a profiler trace, you're going to see that. So because you'll see CPU duration as part of the traces, and then you can find out where the queries that are generating highest CPU and what model that's tied to. So you got to do it through profiler trace or X events or whatever you want to do there. So that's how you would do it.
Yep.
And Fabry did say correct on its analysis services on premises.
Yeah, so we just got to figure out which one, and the profiler trace would be the only way.
Yep, that's how you do it.
Would be the best way.
Need some diagnostics. The other thing you could do is just have like a dartboard with models, throw a dart at it, and whichever one it lands on, that's it. That's it.
Well, he asked a question about DMVs, and I don't know if the ASD. I don't know the answer. I don't know if the ASDMVs keeps that information.
I don't think so. It's not like, I know like on SQL Server, there's some information, like it's got like the rolling DMV. I forget the name of it. But AS doesn't have that.
Yeah, I don't think they show process.
They don't show it. You need the profiler trace. Cool. Oh, look at that. Chatmaster C got a question in without a Q. All right. Nile. There's no Q colon. Chatmaster C let it in. I think Nile's new though, so we let it in.
I think
it has
a good question.
It has question before the colon, so maybe that counts. I don't know. Is Power BI Desktop made for big data? Ooh, that's a good question. 200 million rows of data analysis. So first, I'm going to let Patrick answer also, but I will say also that 200 million rows, I do not consider that big data. First off,
little baby data.
Second off, I can absolutely pull 200 million rows into Power BI Desktop. I've done it. I've done more than that. There's your resources of your machine are going to dictate some of that. I usually have a monster machine with 64 gig of RAM, but honestly, even from a RAM perspective, it doesn't take up that much.
No,
and then,
well, it depends.
It depends on the data structure.
It depends.
Yeah. So in your scenario, yes, you should absolutely be able to do it, assuming you've got clean data and your resources on your machine are decent. And then I was watching some videos, and I should have had. I didn't think this was going to come up. So there was a video about what is big data, and the premise that they had in the video. This was over on the Computer File YouTube channel. The answer, the guy was explaining that it becomes big data when you need distributed processing. That was his standpoint of what big data is. When you can't process it alone with a single machine.
Is this the same channel you were watching the Kerberos video?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
I love that channel. And I don't know that I don't know. Their point was distributed processing is when you can really call it big data, but I think there are ways in Power BI where we can get away with big data, and it's not necessarily in that mindset. But that's the thing to think about when we start thinking about billions of rows, trillions of rows, petabytes of data. Like that's when we start getting to big data. 200 million for me is in Power BI is nothing.
Especially if it's structured properly. If we're
That's
talking about 200 million rows with 200 column string columns, you might run into.
I saw one where it was it's 85 million rows and 800 columns. And like it was timing out when trying to refresh in premium, and I'm like, let's break it up and get it into a star schema, keep it clean, keep it simple, and you can go far.
And there's so many patterns that you can use with composite models, incremental refresh, aggregations. There's so many things you can do, depending on the level of granularity that you need, depending on what type of report consumption you have. There's so many things to think about. But 200 million rows in a properly structured model, piece of cake.
I love Alex's comment.
What did he say?
Excel supports over 16,000 columns. So if your data table column count ain't above that size, you're not doing big data. Please don't have a table with that many columns. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Oh yes. Oh wow. That got a lot of people going. Yeah, 800 columns. I'm not joking about that. That's a true story. True story. Enterprise data. So it's
enterprise data.
Well, I mean, we see things like that when people are migrating from other tools that promote like flat table type approaches, and then they come over to Power BI. And when you get into Power BI, you just got to remember follow the tool's best practices that you're moving to. Don't just try to conform some other tool's data pattern into another tool's data pattern. Understand the tool and get the data right for how it's going to perform best in that tool. Otherwise, why are you using that tool? So, all right, I'm gonna get off.
Well, it worked in the other tool. So why wouldn't it work in this tool?
And that's the comment I hear is like, it just worked over there. Get it to work. And when you say just worked, it barely just worked. It wasn't great.
But it worked though.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Chris, preach on, Adam. It comes up so much that I'm just need to do a video just on that. Just do a soapbox video. I don't know.
And then you should have me there just challenging everything you say. Wait a minute, Adam, it just works.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
All right. Simon, is it possible to refresh a single specific table in the model using the Power Automate visual? Maybe.
Maybe.
It depends.
I'm no Power Automate X. Go ahead.
Is the data set on premium, and through Power Automate, can I issue an XMLA command through the XMLA endpoint?
Yeah.
Which the answer to that is yes.
Oh shoot.
But you can't do it with like just the refresh command that's there as a general connector. You're probably going to end up having to use a premium connector in Power Automate to issue that XMLA command specifically.
Man, that is so. This has come up a lot, and
it's nuanced.
You got to be really careful when you're refreshing that single table, because there's other factors in your model that could be affected by removing data, adding columns, deleting columns and things like that. So if you're thinking about refreshing in a single table, you need to think about the whole breadth of everything that you're doing before you refresh that table, because it can affect your model.
Simon said, yes, it's premium. Bam. So it's premium on the Power BI side, but you're probably going to need a premium connector on the Power Automate side. So I don't know if you're licensed for that. There's nuances that you have to be aware of there.
Again, I like Chris Wagner's comment, danger. So the new season of Danger Real
Lost in Space.
Danger Real
Lost in Space.
Yeah, I just started watching it last night. And be careful. Be careful when you refresh these single tables. I was watching someone do a process data only on a table. Then they tried to go and hit the model. I'm like, you got to finish what you're doing. You can't just do a process data. And they got red X's all over their reports. It's like, yeah, you got to be careful. You need to know what you process and then why you process and then what mode of processing you're using. So be careful.
Yeah, be smart and strategic.
Yep.
Yeah. So the show I've been watching right now, oh, it's really good.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Arcane.
What is it?
Arcane on Netflix. Ooh, that's a good show. It's
Okay,
a League of
I'll go
Legends
watch it.
show. It's it is really good.
Arcane. It's not a cartoon.
It is a cartoon, but man, it's amazing.
Oh, I'm not going.
It's amazing. It's a good story. It's well written. You should absolutely watch it. It's like
no, I'm not.
so
I'm not
good.
watching a cartoon.
So good.
I'm not watching a cartoon.
All right. Shabem, I think hopefully I'm saying that right. How do you calculate the percentage of a value, which is coming from a measure, 4, 8, 12, 16, and so on? Well, what's it the percentage of?
I don't understand.
I mean, if we're just getting a scalar value from a measure, so like 8 or 12 or 16, what's it for a percentage? We need to divide it against something. What are we doing it with? And so then you can reference a measure in another measure. And so if the 8 is coming from measure A and you're writing a parent measure, it references measure A. What's it comparing against? Like how do you get the percentage? And so then just pull that in. It could be another measure. It could be a static value. It could be a column in a table, like a count of something. And then, yeah, what? What are you laughing at?
I'm not paying attention to you. I'm laughing at Alex and Miss Belinda.
Oh, okay.
They're making fun of me. They're making fun of me in my cartoon. Alex is really good. He's like, yeah, he doesn't watch cartoons with the whole background of cartoons.
Yeah. So I mean, Shabam, without more info, it's kind of hard to answer that question. I would say like there's ways to do it in DAX. If you've got that scalar value, we need to divide it against something else. I saw so Chris Jones put like sum X and average X so we can iterate over columns. I just need more context on exactly what your goal is for your measure and how you want to calculate that percentage. But you can do it. You can reference another measure. So hopefully that gets you pointed in the right direction. All right. Yeah. So in Java, gave some more context. Yeah, I got that part. So the 40 is coming. It's a scalar value coming from a measure. I got that. Where's the other part of it coming from that you're actually doing the percentage against? So 40 of what? Like, how do you get that percentage? So once you know the answer to that, then you can craft your DAX measure to produce that percentage. So cool. All right. Let's see here. Ryan, how we doing on time? Oh, we got time. We're going through a lot. It's good. What's the cause of an index column of a dimension being changed in a Power Query editor, and how can I solve this? Cause of an index column? I mean, you hit the index button in Power Query?
New data? Well, I think he's saying that the value is changing across the rows, maybe. New data?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I've never really dug into...
Well, because when you create that index column, this is something I've always thought about too, is when we do the index column in Power Query, and when you refresh, if the data has changed, then does the index change? Like, how do you keep that index static?
I don't know. I have to do some testing on that, honestly.
So, Alex said you need to buffer the results. Ooh, It's nice.
Oh, we talked about this before. Alex and I, we've had this question before.
Yeah. Yeah, you got some background stuff going on there, Patrick. Thought your thing was going to be done, I thought. It's all good. All right. Yeah, so Alex put a doc in the chat for the table.buffer, so check that out. I don't know what after the stream is, Matthew. So
it's a conversation he and I. He sent me
I was
a
gonna
link
say
to
it's
a
probably
video.
it's probably not for me. Oh yeah, the music thing. Yeah.
He wants me to watch it. I said I want to watch cartoons. It's a YouTube video. I'm gonna go watch it.
Okay. Yes. All right. Recharge. I'm bad at names. I'm sorry. How to rename a field name on my model without downloading it. Can't download for incremental refresh policy. Metadata deployment tool like ALM Toolkit does not support renaming as it seems. So you'd have to do it from the XML endpoint perspective. I gotta believe you can rename columns to do that. It's
yeah. Tabular editor, Visual
yeah, but he's saying
Studio,
ALM
whatever can
doesn't
connect.
support the renaming, it seems. Well, so the thing you got to understand with ALM Toolkit is that it's doing a diff. And so it doesn't identify the rename. So it thinks you just have a new column and you deleted an old column.
Well, it's not. You can't rename in ALM Toolkit.
Right.
You got to use another tool to do the rename.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Is because ALM Toolkit does a diff, and from a diff perspective, they're different, right? And so it's showing that your column A, if you renamed it to column B, column A disappeared, so it's going to delete that column. Column B showed up, so it's going to create that column. So.
Thomas said, "Don't use the ALM Toolkit."
Oh, that's a strong statement.
I didn't. Yeah.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
I like to know more.
The ALM Toolkit.
I like to know more. We just used it for something. Somebody was using doing incremental refresh. They couldn't get it, and then we used it to deploy out some measures, and it worked just fine.
Yeah. Interesting. And then Ryan, you said when
because he put it in all caps.
I know. He's yelling at you, Patrick. So Ryan, you asked where you should use that table.buffer. Yeah, it would go before. You do it after the index, Alex. That's interesting. All right. Maybe we need to do a video on that, Patrick. You should write that down.
I got to go look at this. Yeah.
Write that down. We'll do a video on it. Yeah. How to deal with index columns in Power BI. I like that video.
Table.buffer.
All right. Whoa, what happened here? All right. We're almost at time. We got time for one more, unless it's super quick. Baron. How do I apply filter multiple values in a visual? Meaning I have a visual that's filtered and I want to add an additional value that's filtered.
Dude, you can add a filter on the visual in the filter pane.
Yeah. Filter pane will do it. Have multiple slicers. You can do it from a DAX perspective. Lots of options there.
There's lots of ways.
Lots of options.
Yeah, you got lots of options. Yeah.
All right, let's grab one more. Alex had one. Alex did a super chat too, so thank
Alex
you.
Powers? Oh,
No,
not
Alex
Powers.
O'Donnell.
Okay, not Powers.
Best practices for live models and how to manage user experience from getting unpleasant. When we say user experience, are we referring to the consumers or the report authors? Best practices for live models and how to manage. What's unpleasant about it?
Well, the only thing that I can think is unpleasant about it is if I'm trying to create a report, and so let's say I have two tables, internet sales and reseller sales. One has relationships to a set of dimensions, one has another relationship to a set of dimensions, but there's some dimensions that's not related across the two tables. Let's say employee. There's an employee relationship on reseller sales, but not on internet sales. So if I drag employee over and then bring internet sales, it won't do any filtering because there's no relationship between those two. So my experience is unpleasant.
Well, how does that have to do specifically with live models? That's models in general.
If I live connect to the model, if he's live connecting to the model, if I'm not the model designer and I just live connect, I'm a consumer, you design it and I connect to it. I'm just making an assumption. I don't know if this is the case.
I get it.
And I live connect to the model and I start building my report and I'm like, why is this value repeating for all these employees, because the relationship doesn't exist,
Right.
So
And
how
you
do
have no
make
way
that
to know.
experience better?
Yeah.
Well, put descriptions. I just watched a video that I did on 2 fact tables, and I put descriptions that said, "Hey, group by group by group by. You can group by this one, this one, this one, and this one." And so, you can add a little information in your model to help your report consumers out, or your model consumers. See, Chris Jones just agreed with me. Model documentation needed.
Bam.
There you go.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I was wrong. Response being slow. It's just slow.
All right. So that has nothing to do with
You gotta
a
do some
live
optimization.
model. You got to optimize your model.
You gotta optimize your model.
Yeah. So it's performance troubleshooting. So whoever the model owner
Yeah.
is, go troubleshoot that. Run performance analyzer.
Yeah.
Try and figure out where the bottlenecks are. Optimize the DAX. Optimize the model. Star schema. Keep it clean. Keep it simple. Those are all things that come into play.
Joe just asked a good question. Is there a video on documentation? Stay tuned, because I'm going to show you something on that. Stay tuned.
All right, we are at time. We're in the second half, so we are going to cut over to member-only chat. So members and moderators can participate in the chat. Everyone else still welcome to watch, but you won't be able to talk in the chat. If you do have a burning question we didn't get to, super chats always take priority. We have one in the hopper that I saw. So let's go ahead and do that. Thomas, I know you had sent a member question pre-submitted, but I sent you an email early this morning, and I didn't hear back. So I'm not gonna do it this week, but we can talk over email and then highlight it next week if we think it's valuable. Okay.
We just got a super chat in.
I know. We got two. I'm trying to find the other one.
Okay.
Chat goes by so fast. There it is. Brock.
Goes by too fast.
All right. Brock had one in right before we cut over. We're going to go with that one first. Question, relationship issue. Oh, this is a question for you, Patrick.
No, it's not.
Properties are unique. Each property has many unique sites, tables. Okay, so we have unique sites, which is a table, and separately has transactions. Not all sites have transactions. Some and we got cut off. So what I'm thinking here is that let's see here. So maybe we're dealing with blank values because some of them, it's almost like a relationship integrity issue. That's what it sounds like. You know what I'm talking about? Because you get missing data in your dimension.
Sorry. Yeah, they got missing data. Data. So that's
so the question is, not all the sites have transactions. Okay. Well, so it's in the dimension, but they don't actually have something in the fact table. So that's fine. So it'll come up as a blank. Yeah.
But maybe they don't want to show the ones that don't have transactions. Maybe they don't want to have. So there's a video. That I did on cascading parameters, and I talk about the Alberto. Alberto has a really, that's what I call it. Alberto has a really elegant solution. Let me see, can I find the video? All right. Alex is probably going to beat me to it.
So in essence, there's two. He added in the chat before we cut over, he added a thing. So he says, I'm wondering how to get transaction data for sites while using property as the main table, if that makes sense. Trying to get transaction data for sites. Yeah, so sites is the dimension, transactions the fact.
Yeah.
So how do I get transaction data for sites while using property as the main table? Well, so it's just a question of what we're filtering on, right? And so if we have a relationship between the dimension and the fact, we're filtering the dimension, and then that's going to be applied against the fact. And so if your site in the dimension doesn't have any transactions, it'll show up as blank at that point. So then it's a question of what do you want to do with the blanks? If the item doesn't show in the dimension, then you're going to get some wonkiness as well, because there's transactions there that don't relate back to the dimension, and so now you've got a referential integrity issue. So I hope that answers that. What are you laughing at? You keep laughing.
Alex just
I know
he
he's
trolls me
trolling.
constantly.
He's trolling. I know.
But he's so good. He's so good at
All right.
trolling me.
Let's see. Cheetan did another super chat. So Brock, thank you for the super chat.
Yeah.
Cheetan did a super chat as well. Patrick, I've commented on one of your videos. Do you need data table for time intelligence? Nope. That is similar to what I'm doing and just need 2 more steps.
The challenge, though, I'm looking at the comment.
Yeah.
The challenge is the sort by, right? And he wants to customize the columns that's coming off of instead of showing, so he wants to sort the months on the bar chart from October to September. So I guess that's their fiscal year, and then make the month label a short name. But if I don't have a date table, right, and I'm just using the built-in hierarchy, that was my, I don't know. I think I need to.
That's fine.
The built-in, just don't switch over to my screen. The built-in hierarchy, yeah, that's right, Chris. If you don't have a date table, you're doing it wrong. Absolutely. But it's going to be a challenge to try to control the sorting, because Microsoft automatically builds that stuff in when you on the date table that's built by default. And so changing the sort order and making your own custom columns, you'll have to do that on that table without it. And I'll go give it a try. I don't know if I've never tried this Cheetan, but I have your comment up, and I'm going to go give this a try. And if it does work, there'll be a video. If not, I'll respond to your comment and say, yeah, it won't work. That's a good one. This is a good question.
Cool.
I like it.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. So, Alex, thank you for your super chat.
I'm not answering Alex's question. I'm just not. I pass.
Why don't I see it? You pass.
I'll read it to you.
Where'd it go?
I'll pass.
Why did I lose it?
So let me.
Oh, that's why. All right, here we go. Siram Sony, thank you for becoming a member. Very much appreciated.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Migrated Azure AS to premium, switched address to the XMLA, and AI features are broke. How can I reconnect to a Power BI dataset instead of Azure Analysis Services connector? Patrick, specifically. So you have to answer this.
Well, I mean, the same way you switch back. So however you switched over, switch back, Alex. Write some PowerShell to rebind it.
Yes. Yeah, you have to rebind it to the
Yeah.
data set. The REST
Or
API.
open up.
Which I just
Go
did a
ahead,
video
go
of how
ahead,
you
go
can
ahead,
call the REST API
Yeah.
through PowerShell.
Yeah.
Which some people didn't understand what I was
Yeah.
going for there, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. And we know Alex knows the answer to this. He's just
I know he does. Or Alex, because I'm going to play along. Or open up a new desktop. Open the original report. Open the desktop. Connect to the live data set. I'm assuming the schemas are the same. No. Hot swap. That's an external tool. Copy and paste. That's too easy for you, right? That's too easy for you, Alex. We're going to make you work for it.
yeah. Yeah. All right. So Yi Rice, thank you for the super chat. You didn't add the question in the super chat, but we saw Chatmaster C let me know that you had a question right after that. So we're going to go with that because you were nice enough to do the super chat. Using a matrix to show measure by parent-child hierarchy. Okay. How to only show specific level instead of all levels in hierarchy is in scope. Maybe.
It's the only way I know how to do it.
Yeah.
You could try is in scope. I don't know any other way. Maybe
Like, how would you?
Alberto has a
The other question would be like, how would you if you don't want specific items of the hierarchy to show up, even if there is data? Like, how do you get them to not show up? And isn't scope is the only thing that's coming to my mind.
create another hierarchy and don't include them.
Well, but how do you? But I'm saying, like, if you
Hey,
have a
man, I
given
don't
level
know.
of the given level of the hierarchy, you've got like 5 values. Creating a new hierarchy doesn't help you there. So yeah. So yeah, isn't scope is what you should be looking at. Go check that out.
So, let me see. And I got this hot swap thing on as an external tool on my machine. Alex.
So he's like, so only show VP level, not CEO. So I had, so I get what you're going for. So the one thing that you could do is if you were at, so what I would do is if you filter down to the VP level and not the CEO level, or like you're excluding the CEO, and then use is in scope to exclude those other values. And so I did this recently with a customer where we were doing a hierarchy thing with RLS. And the RLS was filtering down so you could only see certain things from the fact table perspective. And then we were using is in scope to make sure that we had that data. So that's what I would do, is make sure you're filtering down to that right level, and then use is in scope to help with that. Yep. Okay. All right. Are we good? You good?
Yeah, I just forgot something.
What'd you forget?
I forgot. If I knew what I forgot, I wouldn't have forgotten it.
Oh, okay. All right, Jason. If get message capacity is at 100%, can you please show on usage report where to find what is most likely causing this? Message capacity, what does that mean? Message capacity is at 100%. I feel like I should know this, but it's not. Message capacity is at 100%. Can you please show on usage report? I don't.
Is that a PowerShell something?
Jason, do you have more details there? Or what, when you say message capacity, what is that? Is that like a message
Get
queue?
message.
It's a message about capacity. Oh. Get a message. Oh, you get the email notification. Got it. Thank you, Matthew.
Oh.
I'm all like, what is message capacity? Okay. So if we got an email notification saying your capacity is at 100%, can you please show on usage report where to find what is most likely causing this? Got it. Hang on. Let's see.
That's a good one. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew. So Jason, are you Gen 1 or Gen 2? I'm going to assume, I'm going to show you from a Gen 2 perspective. And then I'm going to make some comments here. So I need to log in. Hang on. Whew. No, not that. Dang it. Sorry. I got too many things. I logged into the wrong thing. I was not prepared for this question. Also, because I wasn't following message capacity. Matthew set us straight. Here we go. All right.
Chris says Gen 1 is dead to him.
Well, we still got to support it, buddy. It's nearing 100%. So that's where you're going to run into an issue on the nearing part. And I probably don't know if I don't know if I've got the updated, if the most recent. So there's two different things. So one's going to be that you're at 100% or you're getting close to, or you get the 80%. There's an 80% message and then a 100% message. So let me cut over to my machine. I'm waiting for it to refresh. Come on. Refresh. So this is the Gen 2 metrics app. Yes. So yeah, David's commenting on, yes, it used to show, but now it doesn't. Come on. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. All right. So if you're over 100%, this is today, there's some updates coming to this app. But today, with the Gen 2 metrics app, it's really hard. Actually, it's almost impossible to see, are you getting close to the 100% boundary, or what may be taking resources that's getting you close to that 100% boundary. All you can really see is if you went over, and that's what this overload minute item means. And so what you want to look for is these spikes. And if the spikes are here, you're going to also see, and I know that I think there's an update also that helps illustrate this. But you want to look at this overload minutes, and then that's the data set that it's coming from, right? And so everything here right now is targeted towards overload, which means over 100%. And so there are some updates coming that are going to help you look at what's happening before 100%. It's not out yet, so stay tuned. Hopefully it'll be out soon. But just know that this is all you have for Gen 2 right now to see what's actually coming close. Outside of that, I mean, look at your CPU. If you know that you're getting those notifications, who's at the top of this list, right? And then we can narrow down from a time perspective and we can see, oh, we had usage on Thursday. And so start digging in and figure out like, okay, who's consuming that? So if I look at Thursday, right? And then this is going to refresh and it's direct query. So it's not the fastest thing in the world, but you can get there. And then we can go down and we can see, look, Phil's test data set is causing a problem. So we got to go talk to Phil. Look at that guy, CPU seconds. And that's also what caused the overload, right? But we can also see who else in this is contributing to load under that, and then go look and try and optimize based on that. Anything to add there, Patrick?
Nope.
So that's how we do it. No. That's how we do it. All right. Hopefully that helps you, Jason. All right. Karthik. Is there a way to monitor auto scaling off all of the capacities used in the organization? I want to know which capacities are overutilized core-wise in the last 24 hours or the last 7 days. Nothing in REST API. That's correct. There's nothing in the REST API. All you have today is to go off of the metrics app. So hopefully there will be updates later on. So I know if you go check out the release plans, there's some items in there that indicate that capacity metrics will come at some point. But yeah, today all you have is the metrics app, and so you've got to go look through that. You have access to the data set, so you can do some, I'll refer to them as hacks, but you can do like analyze in Excel, you could do all sorts of stuff to try and get that data out to archive it on your own. But the metrics app is really all you've got. And so look at that and look at the overload. Did we overload? And that's, if you overloaded, then you're potentially going into auto scale territory there. So that's what you want to pay attention to. Cool. All right. Tally, a new member of Guy in a Cube. Welcome, Tally. I was asked to make a Pareto. I found a formula that I think is working, but my x-axis skews is huge, and the visual is not loading. The loading symbol is just running forever. Any advice? So I'd love to. So one thing you could do, if it's running forever, I mean, we got to get it to. We could trace it outside of it. Really, what I want to do is the DAX statement that got issued. How long is that taking? So I'd start with Performance Analyzer. Although if it's still running and it doesn't complete, I don't know that you're going to get the DAX query out of that. We could do traces in DAX Studio to just, start tracing, because you could see like, okay, this query started, it didn't finish. Yeah. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah. That's it.
So, but the other thing too with that is Performance Analyzer will also help you understand, is it the DAX or is it the rendering of that visual? Because it may be that the DAX actually came back, but now we're sitting there trying to visualize the data. So Performance Analyzer is a great way to start for that. But it could be like how it's the DAX is. My guess is it's probably the DAX. It's just taking a long time to process and churn. And so we need to go look at that and see if we can optimize that somehow.
What does that mean? My x-axis is huge. Is there
because,
a lot of values?
Yeah, there's a lot of values there.
Okay. Yeah.
The other thing you could look at too is if the base visuals are maybe causing this problem, there may be some options with some custom visuals that may help. I don't know if you've looked at custom visuals that are more tailored for that might be able to help you in an easier way than trying to figure it out on your own. So that's definitely something I would check out.
A lot of SKUs. So, all right. Maybe, but also if it's a lot of SKUs, maybe filtering down, filtering down to get
Filtering
fewer
down?
SKUs. That way you can get the full DAX back. You can get it to render maybe and get the DAX back and analyze the DAX.
Yeah. Look at a targeted
yeah.
section of it just to see what it's going to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
then Joe brings up a good point. Do you need all the SKUs? Can we bucket them maybe? Can we look at maybe a higher level
and then drill in?
Yeah.
But these are good ideas. You guys are giving all kind of ideas now.
Yeah. Lots of options. She says 50K or more SKUs. Yeah, but how do you? Is someone actually going to look at that? Like, what's the question you're trying to answer with it, and is that usable for them? So those are all things you need to consider and weigh in and figure out what we can get away with.
Yeah.
So
Tally, there's some videos on bucketing. They're out there, binning, bucketing. They're
you had one.
They're in the, if you just search. Yeah, I think I have 2 of them.
Yeah. Yep. Look for buckets or binning as your keywords when you're searching. Or Alex will, hey Alex, if you can find that video, drop it in the chat.
I'm surprised he hadn't already dropped it in there.
Yeah, it's all right. He's probably searching for it because, we didn't name it in a right way that hey Alex command can actually work successfully against it.
Yeah.
All right. Joe, I have to add a Sharepoint source to my data flow. Currently, data flows has SQL source only. Should I add a new entity to the current data flow or create a new data flow? So you have different entities within inside of a data flow, and each entity can be a different data source. And I know SharePoint is one of the data sources for data flows. So I don't understand what the problem is there. Unless you're saying I have an existing entity where I also maybe I need to do a join between SharePoint and SQL.
I think you just want to have 2 different ones. So should I create a new data flow or should I just add it to the existing one?
I mean, that's up to you. The thing I would say, at least from my experience recently, is where I would say that you definitely want to split them up is if you start running into long validation times, which could end up happening, especially if you have multiple entities and different data sources, things of that nature. That's when I would split them up to different data flows. But you can try if they're relevant to each other and they make sense in the same data flow. I'd say start with that. And then
I'm just afraid of refresh with SharePoint. I'm just always
it's refresh. Refresh is the consideration, but the long running validation when you're authoring is the bigger concern right now with data flows for me.
Yeah.
So that's where I would maybe make the choice to separate it. So.
Yep.
And Alex, drop in the link to that video. Thank you, sir.
But wait, let me say this to that video. I did it in DAX, Tally, because I wanted to make the model portable. So if we wanted to share the model with someone. So if you can do the binning upstream in Power Query or in the source, try to do it there. Try to do it. What is Roach's maximum? I forget it. Is that right?
Roach's maxim, yes.
I got it
Your
right.
data transformation.
I got it.
No, yeah, but you need to actually say the maxim. If you invoke the maxim, you have to say it. He doesn't know it.
I don't know it.
Yeah, so perform your data transformations as far upstream as possible, as far downstream as necessary.
Yes.
Oh, love it. All right, cool. We're getting there. We're getting towards. We got 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Mr. Wagner, is there any way to sync a single table or set of tables in Azure AS to the read server while other tables are loading? I want to eliminate dependencies on sync.
I think he's talking about the query scale out, right? QoS.
No.
Is that what he's doing? Well, he's putting them on separate machines, right? He's syncing them across replicas.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Another set of tables in Azure AS to the read server while other tables are loading. So while we're processing, you want to sync it to the read, kind of like as it's happening. So the processing has to happen first, and then it syncs that with the replicas. It's not like now. The other thing to look at there are, and I don't know, to try and limit the amount of, because I think Chris, I'm gonna make an assumption that your goal here is to limit the window of staleness between the time that we processed and the time that the read replicas get the actual data. And there is a item, God, I'm forgetting. There's like a replica sync setting that you can do, and I remember it had like a value of 2 or 3. And you can play with that. So it alters. It's an analysis services setting.
I never heard of this setting.
Yeah. So if you search for analysis services replica sync, and then there is a setting, synchronization. And this doesn't have it, but it's part of this. There's an actual setting that's part of it, and you can change. There's a number as part of that setting, but this article doesn't have the actual setting number.
Somebody said, "I hope you get paid well." Are you talking about with the new replica sync mode?
Well, no, this was with Azure Analysis Services. So this article's back from like 2017.
Improve.
It's not new.
This is 2020. It says improve query replica synchronization in Azure Analysis Services, and there's a property replica sync
there
mode.
it is. Yes, that is it.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that is it.
If you use Bing, it's the first result. If you
I dropped it in the chat. I dropped it. Yeah, replica sync mode is the setting that you want. So there's 1 is the default, and then 2 is trying to optimize synchronization in parallel. So you're gonna want to play around with it. It's not a guarantee, and it could fall back, but that's your lever for doing that.
I gotta read this article. This is interesting.
I only know it because I went through it with a customer, and Akshay was part of it. So yeah.
Chris, if you use Bing, it was the first result. The first result.
Depending on what you search on, because it wasn't the first result for me. All right, cool. Yes, so Chris, go check that out. Hopefully that helps you. That's really your only lever on that. So just be aware. All right, let's see here. PawBeater. Here we go. I have a table with machine name, time of day, count. Count increases until start of next shift, then 0. Okay, so it resets at the start of a shift. How do I find the production of each machine per hour, per 6 hour, per shift? Shift is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. DAX? No, and I know that's, you know that, PawBeater. I mean, I need... off the top of my head, I'm not going to be able to give you like what the actual DAX is going to look like. We'd have to play with it.
How do I find the production of each machine per 6 hour?
So what I don't... So the challenge here, what would be more helpful is if you had some indicator here that gave like the shift itself. So you have time of day, and so you've got to account for that in your DAX. And you got to track all of those hours and then sum that stuff up. And so... Yeah, I mean,
but the start of the day is 7 a.m. and the start of the shift is 7, and the end of the shift is 7
so
p.m.
it's a 12-hour shift,
right? So it's just 2 6-hour blocks within there.
No, but you want to find
you
want to find the production for each machine per hour, per 6 hour, per shift. So you're breaking it out. Yeah, and so you've got to account. You filter it down for those given levels that you have, and then you're gonna bucket it.
Yeah. I had to think about this. Can we screenshot this?
You can.
I can't.
I'll get it to you.
Don't worry about it.
I'll get it to you.
Okay. Let me think about it. I'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, we can't give it to you off the top of our head. I mean, we need to play with the data, play with the DAX to get the right answer that you're looking for. So, I mean, it's going to be DAX. You just have to account for those hours and sum it up and play with filters and whatnot to get that. So, yeah. And then Will came in with a thought, mod on time.
And he made a good point. That last point, the last one, it always goes up. Right, production always goes up or stays the same. It goes up or stays the same.
But then the other thing though is, are you looking for the max or are you looking for a sum? Like I don't know what that represents. That number. Well, Will's going off a max. Will's going off a max, not sum. So that's the thing is I don't know what that count represents, and if it's additive or not. So I don't know.
Go mod is the remainder.
All right, he says it would be max. Okay, well, that makes it easier. Okay. Yeah, give it a try. All right. We are over time. Ooh. Let's get one more. Chewy's in there next. Get one more.
See, he says count is a running total. Count is a running total.
Max,
Go
yes.
ahead, answer Chewy's.
Yeah.
No, he just said count.
Right.
No, he just said count is a
I
running
know.
total.
That's what I said. It's max.
Okay, I need that question because I'm really curious about this. I don't think it's that hard.
No. All right, Chewy. How do you determine when to add more servers into a gateway cluster? Good question from Steve Bush. Oh, all right. Look at him sliding in other questions. So it depends. So are you having a problem? What I would do is I would you need to look at so here's the trouble with gateway diagnostics right now is you have to look at each individual server that's running a gateway. And to know, like, there's no collective source for that in the service. Hopefully we'll get that someday, but it's not there now, which means you got to go look at each server and monitor those. So we're looking at CPU, we're looking at memory. You could break it out by gateway from a process perspective. We can look at it from the number of containers that we have. So the matchup containers. And so is it okay? Is it happening okay? Are we getting any errors? So those are all things I look at in terms of, like, is it overloaded or not? And then based on that, if you think it's starting to get close or you are getting overloaded and you're having problems, that's when I would go add another member to the gateway cluster. So, I mean, you just have to monitor it. It's just like if I had like a SharePoint farm and I'm doing a load balance, how do I know if I need to add another SharePoint server into the farm? I've got to monitor those servers. And so it's kind of old school server monitoring at that point. So, yep. Okay. That is it, Patrick. We did it. You're still pondering that question, and you're muted. You're muted. Yeah.
I am still thinking about that.
I know
question.
you are. I know you are.
I am.
SharePoint farmer on my CV. Yeah. We did it.
We did it.
We made it to the end. All right. Thank you everyone for watching so much. Thank you for all the great questions. This was great. Thank you for all the super chats and the new members. You guys are amazing. We are going to be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. We hope that you guys have a great week ahead of you. Patrick, any closing thoughts or words of wisdom? I ask you every time.
No.
And
No,
that's the
not
answer
today.
every time. Next week. So my goal for next week is to get the intro music good for Matthew. Your goal for next week is to come up with some words of wisdom at the end of the stream.
No problem.
That's your homework.
No problem.
All right, everyone. Have a great week.
I got it.
We will see you out on the interwebs.